Good morning and welcome to the virtual Greater Boston Church of Spiritualism on this wonderful Sunday morning or whenever it is you're choosing to watch this video. Please join me in our opening prayer. Infinite Spirit, beloved God, we open our hearts and minds to your presence, to your light, and to your love as we gather together today in harmony and in community. Help us to remember who we are as a part of you, and help us to bring that light and share that light wherever it is we travel. Help us to walk in your love and in your peace so that we may bring peace wherever we go. We ask that you bring to us today our loved ones so that we may truly know that life and love continues into eternity. Help us to truly understand that we are eternal beings, a part of you, for it is in this knowledge that we truly give thanks. Amen. And today, our responsive reading in honor of Thanksgiving, which just passed, let us read positive affirmations as we count our blessings not only on Thanksgiving, but every day. I am the rich child of a loving God. God is good, life is wonderful, and I am richly blessed. I love all people, and all people love me without attachment. Thank you, God, for my instant, constant, and abundant supply. I bless you and release you in peace. It is my right to be happy, and I claim my happiness now. I now release everything and everyone that is no longer a part of my life. They now release me. We find our peace and good elsewhere. I now reach for my greatest and highest good for my life. That which is for my greater good is in my life right now. God, my Creator, and I are one, manifesting only the perfection for my life. And now if you join me in our healing prayer, which will prepare us for our healing meditation. I ask the great unseen healing force to remove all obstruction from my mind and body and to restore me to perfect health. I ask this in all sincerity and honesty, and I will do my part. I ask this great unseen healing force to help both present and absent ones who are in need of help and to restore them to perfect health. I put my trust in the love and the power of God. Now it's time for our healing meditation, a time where we can relax and let go of the stress, the strain, the difficulties, and the worries, and just allow ourselves to be present in this sacred moment of now with that divine presence that we know is all around us. So just take a moment to close your eyes and take a nice deep breath. Breathing in and allowing that breath to relax you as it flows gently through your body. And just feel that breath going deep inside, moving through every muscle, relaxing, soothing, and calming. Moving into every nerve, every bone, every joint, every organ. And as you breathe out, release the stress. Release anything that you have been holding on to that is not made from this peace. Allow your breath to simply carry you into this sacred moment of now as you let go of everything else. Let go of the past. Let go of the future. Just allow yourself to be present with your breath in this sacred moment of now. Breathing and realizing that that light and that peace of God is always around you. So just imagine that peace flowing in with your breath. It's a beautiful light. Feel it moving all the way through you, filling that wonderful body, bringing to your body what it needs so that it may relax and open to that healing power of God that is always available to you. Just breathe. Breathing in that light and breathing out everything else, and imagine that body filled with light and that light filling every cell and flowing out of every pore until your entire body is filled with light You can feel that healing light flowing right out of your pores into the air around you. And just continue to allow that light to bring to your body what it needs so that it can be restored and renewed and returned to its natural state of ease and grace. And as your body thoroughly relaxes, feel that divine healing light moving into your mind, quieting that busy mind, clearing out all those worries and fears and negative thoughts that may have been held within that mind. Just imagine them flowing away from you as you imagine a beautiful, peaceful river of light flowing through your mind, carrying away all those thoughts that no longer serve you. And as you breathe and relax, just feel that light filling your mind with the knowing that you are loved, loved beyond measure, and knowing that you are part of the God force, part of the infinite creator, part of all that is. And as you breathe, just allow that mind to begin to expand in that knowledge so that you may become aware of yourself as the divine being you were created to be, a part of the infinite source. And just allow that light to continue to fill your mind so that you are open to the inspiration and the wisdom that is all around you as you are connected to your source, to that infinite spirit, that creator God. And feel that mind continuing to expand, filling with light, filling with love, filling with the knowing of who you are. And feel that perfect light flowing through your emotional body, cleansing and clearing away any negative emotions that have gotten in your way from loving. And just breathe and feel this pure, unconditional love washing through you, moving anything in its way so that only love remains. And feel that love flowing into your heart as well as it opens your heart in pure love, preparing you to be that expression of God that you were created to be, that loving being. Just allow yourself to be present with you in this moment, feeling yourself as a divine being, as a sacred being connected to your source. And feel a beautiful light just above you, lifting you higher and higher above the physical plane. And just imagine yourself now standing on top of a beautiful mountain. And as you stand, you can feel the rays of God's light shining down upon you, filling you, bringing to you everything that you need. And you can feel that peace, that deep, profound peace that flows only from the divine, filling every part of you. And you can allow that peace to flow out from you, to emanate from you from this high mountain top. And as you stand in this mountain top, look out upon the earth below. You can see the trees and all the branches and leaves all working together to create a beautiful picture. All of the leaves, each one perfect unto itself, every branch of every tree coming together in one magnificent image. And you notice that everything is connecting. Everything is existing in harmony when you see it from this higher perspective. You can look out on all the world and notice that everything has a purpose. Everything in its own magnificence creates a beautiful image of the world. As you look out, notice how everything works together in harmony. From this vantage point, we can see it. And as we stand on top of this mountain, filled with divine light, allow it to radiate out from you down onto the world below. And just continue to stand high above the physical plane so that you may feel your oneness with God, and you may see through the eyes of God the beauty and the wonder within all of creation. And as you see it, as your heart opens in love and appreciation and gratitude for all the earth and all of its inhabitants, we can send that love, that healing peace out to every part of our planet. And imagine it now going deep down into the earth, renewing her resources, bringing to our planet everything that she needs. And feel it moving into every person and every creature. And just see that light filling every heart, bringing us all into harmony, into a vibration of pure love, so that we may all live as the divine expression of earth that we were created to be. Just breathe and hold the vision of every being on this planet receiving what they need to be whole, complete, and perfect unto themselves, and so that every being will know, as they share their love, their light, their peace, they are expressing the divine and creating a perfect world in harmony and in peace. Let us feel that divine light reaching deep into the core of our being, bringing to us what we need to know who we truly are as a part of God, knowing we are whole, complete, and perfect right now in this moment and in every other. As we grow and change and evolve, that light continues to fill us and to hold us in our state of perfection. So let us hold this vision of the world healed, of us all living in harmony and peace with one another, so that we may each do our part to truly create peace on earth. Breathing in and allowing that light to fill every particle and to flow out from every part of your being. Know that as you begin to bring yourself back, you are carrying that light and you are carrying that higher perspective with you, so that you may continue to do your part to create peace on earth. Take a nice deep breath now, allowing yourself to gently flow back to the world, flow back to the room, feeling that you're beneath you and the clothes upon your body. Take a nice deep breath and smile as you open your eyes and rejoin us, knowing we are all perfect, whole, and complete, a part of each other, radiating that light to all beings around us. And if we're all back now, let us together say our principles. In spiritualism, we have no rules or regulations, no dogmas or creeds, but we do have a set of principles that help us to live our lives in the best possible way. So please read them with me as they appear on the screen. We believe in infinite spirit and that God is infinite spirit. We believe that the phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, are the expression of infinite spirit. We affirm that a correct understanding of such expression and living in accordance therewith constitute true religion. We affirm that the existence and personal identity of an individual continue after the change called death. We affirm that communication with the so-called dead is a fact scientifically proven by the phenomena of spiritualism. We believe that the highest morality is contained in the golden rule, whatsoever ye would that others should do unto you, do ye also unto them. We affirm the moral responsibility of the individual, and that they make their own happiness or unhappiness as they obey nature's physical and spiritual laws. We affirm that the doorway to reformation is never closed against any human soul here or hereafter, and we affirm the precepts of prophecy and healing contained in the Bible are divine attributes proven through mediumship. So today I have a question that I think we can all ask ourselves. Who are we really? We know that we are human and divine. We are body and spirit. And I guess the question is, how do we merge these two wonderful aspects of ourselves? You know, we know that we're physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual beings. But what does it really mean to be human on this earth plane? When we think about being human, we know that we need to survive, which means we need to make a living. We need to put a roof over our head, we need to put clothes on these bodies, and we need to feed our bodies. We need to nourish them so they'll continue to carry us along this journey on earth. And we also recognize that we are mental beings, so we have to care for our mental state. We have to pay attention to what we put in, because what we put in also comes out, doesn't it? So we're careful about what we put into our minds, what we allow ourselves to see. And it's a good idea to often look at our belief systems, because our beliefs can be formed by many things. Sometimes our beliefs stay with us from childhood and we take on the beliefs of our parents. Sometimes we take on the beliefs of what we see on TV or on social media, and we have to look at, is that true? Is that true for us? Because our beliefs should really be formed from our own experiences on earth as we grow. So it's a good idea to take them out and notice, where do these beliefs come from? And do I still hold them to be true for me? That's an important part of our mental state. Another important part of being human is relationships. We have relationships with other people. We learn how to get along. We learn how to cooperate. We learn that our actions affect others. And relationships with other people are a very important part of our lives. But we must think about, what kind of footprint do we leave in the hearts of those we connect to? Are they good or are they bad? And what kind of footprint do we leave on this earth? As humans, it's our responsibility to take care of this earth, to take care of each other. So think about, what footprint are you leaving behind? Is it good or is it bad? With people and with the planet. We are also emotional beings, which makes us feeling, loving, wonderful beings. It's a wonderful part of us, our emotions. And we're all wired to be empathetic, to be caring, and we're actually wired to love one another and care for one another. And that aspect of ourselves connects us to our spiritual aspect, where we can get to know that divine aspect of ourselves. But we are all part of God, and we all hold that divine spark. So what does it mean to be divine and live on this earth plane? Well, first, knowing we are divine is important. Knowing there's nothing wrong with us, that we are created in perfection. I like to think of all of us as the tree of life, and the essence of that tree really is God. And we are the limbs and the branches and the leaves, and we're all unique, but we're all perfect. And think about when you look at a big, beautiful tree, and some of the branches are gnarled and curled and go this way and that, and maybe by itself there might seem to be some imperfections there. But when you step back and see the whole tree, that those perceived imperfections is what brings that tree character and beauty. And so when we look at ourselves, sometimes those perceived imperfections that we see are really not imperfections at all, but what we bring to make the whole more interesting or more beautiful. Knowing we are eternal is also an important part of understanding our own divinity. For we're all energy. We're all made in the image and likeness of God, which is the energy of God. And so when we understand that these bodies may not live forever, but we will, our essence will, our divinity will. And that helps us to move along on our journey as a divine being. Knowing we are divine helps us to see the bigger picture, to rise up, as we did in our meditation, to stand on top of the mountain and get the higher perspective, the bigger picture, because there's always good in everything if we have the eyes to see. I recently read a quote from Edgar Tolle, and it says this: "Even within the seemingly most unacceptable and painful situations is concealed a deeper good, and within every disaster is contained the seed of grace." Sometimes we have to look really deep to find that seed of grace, but we know that in everything there is goodness. And throughout this pandemic, we're really learning a lot about the goodness that is within the hardships. You know, when we entered 2020, we realized that 2020 was about seeing with clarity, getting a higher view, seeing the whole picture. And in 2021, which is quickly approaching, we will be asked to take the wisdom of what we've learned in this year of clarity and live in a different way. So we are preparing to do just that by paying attention and getting a higher perspective on everything. Living in the knowing that we are divine, that we merge how we merge those two aspects is knowing that, right? That we are on earth, but of spirit. And that's an important part of us that we need to remember. We are always spiritual beings living as our highest selves, connected to the divine, expressing God in all we do. Our principles teach us that. Our principles teach us that all of creation is an expression of God. We can see that expression in the trees, in the flowers, in the seas, in the sky, in the angels that form in the clouds. We can see every part of nature expressing divinity, but so often we can't see it within ourselves. And if we can't see it within ourselves, how are we going to see it in others? That's a big question. You know, as we enter December, we are preparing for Christmas. Christmas is a wonderful holiday, but what it's really about is being reborn in the light of divine love. And this time, these weeks in December, are about preparing our hearts, our minds, and our spirits to be reborn in that energy of pure love, in that energy of God, so that we may create and live our lives as spirit on earth, expressing harmony and peace and love in all that we do. The Christian traditions, Christmas is about the birth of Jesus. And this particular time is called Advent, which is a time of preparation. As we study the symbolic life of Jesus, we know that he walked the earth to teach us how to merge our human and divine aspects through our connection to God. We know that Jesus came in bringing the light of God to the world, and he walked in that complete harmony and union with the divine. And he's teaching us through his life how we should do the same. So how can we prepare to care for our human aspect and live as spirit here on earth, expressing divinity in all that we do? Well, one of the things is to know who we really are in every moment, remember that, and to know our worth, to know our true value. We are worthy simply because we exist. Think about that for a moment. Our creation makes us worthy. The infinite source of life itself has created us in perfection. That means we have great worth. We are all sacred beings, and we are worth tremendous value. When we don't seek out and understand our value and our worth, we dishonor the Creator. When we put ourselves down, we are discrediting the Creator. If you think about an artist, puts all of himself into his art. And if we look at that art disdainfully or find fault with it, we are dishonoring that artist because it's a part of that artist. Well, God is the artist and has created each and every one of us. So when we don't see our true value or see the value of the individuals around us, we are dishonoring the Creator. And isn't it time we start to see our true value? Isn't it time we understand that we're all sacred beings? Sometimes we put ourselves in places and situations where we're not appreciated or valued. But our sense of worth is really up to us. What we feel about ourselves dictates to the world around us how the world will feel about us. So we are in charge of deciding our own worth and our own value. I'll tell you a little story about a little monk. And he went to his teacher, and he asked his teacher, he said, "Master, what is the greatest value of my life?" And the teacher, of course, wouldn't answer him directly. He said, "I'm going to send you on a mission. I want you to go out into the garden and pick up a stone. Then I want you to take that stone into the marketplace. And when you get there, just stand there with the stone until someone asks you what you want to sell it for. And when they ask, just hold up 2 fingers. But do not sell the stone. Come back and report to me." So the little monk went to the marketplace and stood with his stone in a very sacred way. And a woman came up and said, "How much for the stone?" And the little monk did this, put up 2 fingers. And the woman said, "Oh, you want $2. And he shook his head and he held up the 2 fingers. She said, "Oh, I'm sorry. You wanted $20. Okay, I could use a paperweight. I'll pay you $20 for the stone." Well, the monk was so surprised because it was a rock from the garden. Someone was going to give him $20, but he went right back to the teacher to report. And he was so excited that someone wanted to give him $20 for the stone. And he said, "Now will you tell me my real value of my life?" And the master said, "Not yet. Tomorrow, I want you to take the stone into the museum. And I want you to just stand there with the stone. And when they ask you how much you want to sell it for, put up your 2 fingers. But do not sell that stone." So he said, okay. So the next day, the little monk went into the museum and stood very sacredly with his stone. And the curator of the museum came by and asked him how much he wanted to sell the stone for. So the little monk did this again with the 2 fingers. And the curator said, "Oh, you want $200 for the stone." And the little monk was horrified that he would give him $200 and shook his head no. And he said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean 200. I meant 2,000. I'll give you $2,000 for the stone," because now the museum curator is thinking, this is truly a very special stone the little monk has brought to us. And so the monk, just being floored with the $2,000 offer, went running back to the teacher and said, "You won't believe it. They've offered me $2,000 for this stone. We can be so rich, we have a whole garden filled with stones. Now will you tell me my true value?" And the master said, "I have one more thing for you to do. Tomorrow, take the stone and go to the art collector. And when you get to the art collector, and they ask you, just hold up the 2 fingers, but do not sell that stone." And he said, "Come back to me and tell me what they've offered." So the little monk, excited, goes to the art collector, and he stands holding this sacred stone. And of course, everyone in the town is buzzing about this stone that this little monk has, and it must be priceless because he's carrying it and offering it in all these different places. So the art collector comes up and says, "How much would you like for the stone?" And he says, 2. And he said, "Oh, okay, I will give you $20,000 for the stone." And the monk is almost having a heart attack over this one. And the curator thinks he's upset because he didn't offer him enough. And he said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I will give you $200,000 for that stone." And the monk left and ran back to the teacher. And he said, "They're going to give me $200,000 for this stone. I can't believe it." And he said, "Now, will you tell me what my greatest value is?" And the teacher said, "The greatest value of your life is just like the stone. The value of your life is exactly where you place yourself to be. The decision is only yours to make. You decide." And there we have it. We have the power to determine our value, our true value. So isn't it time we start to understand who we are and to put the real true value on ourselves and others, so that we can value each other's skills and creativity and work together in cooperation and in harmony? Because together we can all make a difference. But we must know our true value. And another thing we need to do in order to live as physical and spiritual beings is to care for ourselves. Care for ourselves on every level. Physically, feed ourselves what's healthy. Get enough sleep. Think about the act of cooking a healthy meal is actually an act of love, whether it's for yourself or for those you feed. So put love into everything you do to care for yourself and others. You know, so many of our loved ones come from the spirit side, and they tell us they shared their love through their food. And that's a wonderful way of nurturing that physical part of yourself and others, but also doing it with that spiritual love that you have within your heart. Take care of yourself. Sleep. Get enough sleep. Think about how you feel when you haven't had enough sleep. You're emotionally and physically unbalanced, right? Grumpy, can't get along, hard to get through the day. Well, take care of yourself. That's a big part of being a physical and spiritual being. We take care of every aspect of ourselves. Reaching out and helping others. Building relationships with the people in your life. Building a relationship with the greater world. You know, Christmas is a time of giving. Be generous with yourself, with your love, with your presence, with your time. Be present with those in your life that need your presence, whether it's on the phone or on the Zoom classes and meetings that we all connect with. Be present. Share your essence. Share your love. And please take care of the organizations that need your help. You know, instead of buying presents that aren't needed, give. Last week I talked about the Watertown Food Pantry. People need food. Kids need toys at Christmas. So make donations to organizations. You don't even have to leave your house to do that. So reach out, become a part of the community, become a part of the greater world, and build a relationship with the people around you, with your community, and with the entire world, because you're an important part of that. And probably the most important thing you can do to live as a divine and physical being on this planet is to connect to God each and every day. Connect to that divine source. Remember who you are. If we get so forgetful when we're walking along day to day, just paying attention to that physical part of ourselves, we must pay attention to that spiritual part. We must connect to that divine presence and allow that divine presence to be with us in every moment of every day. You know, be ready when Christmas comes. Be ready to be reborn as the light of God that you are. We spend so much time preparing for Christmas, decorating, buying gifts, wrapping gifts, cooking. You know, the real joy of Christmas is not found in any of those things. It's found within you. And you can go through all the motions of Christmas and not access that peace and joy and that magic of the season. Only if you have prepared yourself and opened your heart to love can you feel that magic of Christmas when it arrives, and can you be reborn into the light. You know, the kingdom of heaven is within our hearts, and the kingdom of heaven is like the tiniest mustard seed. But that mustard seed grows to be the greatest tree in the garden. So feed that love in your heart. Connect to that divine presence so that you may truly be the expression of God on earth and live as that kingdom of God. And everything you do, everything you say, every year you walk, you will be expressing the divine presence. So allow the kingdom of God to be who you are. God bless you all. And now we will have a musical selection by Damien and LaCount, who will sing Anthem.
The birds they sang at the break of day start again. I heard them say, don't dwell on what has passed away or what is yet to be. Yeah, the wars, they will be fought again. The holy dove, she will be caught again. Bought and sold and bought again. The dove is never free. Ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. We asked for signs, the signs were sent. The birth betrayed, the marriage spent, the widowhood of every government, a sign for all to see. I can't run no more with this lawless crowd, while the killers in high places say their prayers out loud. But they've summoned a it's in. You can add up the parts, you won't have the sum. You can strike up the march, there is no drum. Every heart to love will come, but like a refugee, ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. That's how the light gets in. That's how the light gets in. Oh.
Thank you, Damien. Thank you, Rob, for that beautiful musical selection. And now it's time for our spirit communication, a time when we bring in the loved ones, and I will do my best to bring to you exactly what they say. I know there's a lot of spirits trying to get through, especially in this holiday season. So I will offer you whatever I feel. If you recognize them, please let me know. Send us an email so I know we're making contact. Because I have no idea who's out there watching this, but I know the spirit world does. So I will be their instrument today, and we welcome all of those who want to come in. So let's see who's here. I have a wonderful woman who's coming in, and what she's bringing through me is a deep peace, a real profound peace. So this would have been a woman who was very peaceful in her demeanor. And I also feel very sacred with her because I feel like she would have been someone who was very religious and someone who had put a lot of time into her prayers. I feel like she definitely was a churchgoer, but she says my spirituality was only in part with my church visits. My spirituality was a personal connection between herself and God. And she said that's what was most important, and that's what gave me the peace that I brought into the family and into the world around me. I feel like she would have worked out in the workplace, and she also had a family. So I feel like she would have done it all, she's telling me, and she would have had a very busy life, but you wouldn't have known it when you met her because her demeanor was so relaxed and calm. She was definitely a woman who went with the flow. She never got flustered. She allowed herself to just be present in the moment and take care of whatever showed up. And I feel like she tried to impart that on her children. I feel like there's a lot of daughters here. I feel like she had 4 children, and I think there's 3 girls and a boy and she's saying they're like stepping stones. So there wasn't a lot of space in between them. I feel like there's only like a year or 2 between each one. So I feel like the family, the kids were very close. They were close in age, but they were really close in hearts. And I feel like she instilled in them the need to care for one another and take charge of one another. So because she was busy and because she was either cooking or cleaning or doing laundry or going to work, there were a lot of jobs she gave out to the kids, and each one looked out for the one younger than themselves. So they all had a lot of responsibility growing up, and she is beaming at how wonderfully her children have grown to be such responsible and loving adults. So I feel like she's really standing in a place of pride. And she says she knows that she had something to do with that. And she wants to take credit for her ability to teach them how to be peaceful within themselves and also how to be responsible. because I feel like the responsibilities can sometimes throw you into a place of turmoil and anxiety. And she's saying she tried to balance the responsibilities of life and to maintain a certain level of peace within and around her. And she insisted on a peaceful home. She said, that is my sacred place. This home is peaceful. There'll be no fighting and no arguing. We're going to all get along. So she set the ground rules, and she taught her children how to interact with one another in peaceful ways. There was disagreements, of course, she said, but she taught them how to deal with those in constructive ways. So I feel like she's coming in today to, number one, say how proud she is of her children, and to want to instill in them to keep teaching those values, to keep teaching the value of being peaceful within yourself and carrying that peace into the interactions, because you can do a lot in bringing people together. And I do feel some of her children may work with in psychology or in a place where they try to bring people together and learn how to get along. But I feel like she's very proud of them and encouraging them to continue to teach those lessons. But I feel like she wants to tell everyone that we need to maintain a level of peace within so that we can handle the stresses and the responsibilities that life brings to us. Those are important parts of our lives, and we shouldn't be weighed down by the responsibilities. We should stand up to them in a place of peace and joy that we're able to meet these responsibilities. So I feel like she's trying to shift the perspective of people to see the blessing and the responsibilities that show up in your life, and to meet them from a place of peace and serenity, so that you can see what those responsibilities really entail and meet them easily. Life doesn't have to be hard, she said. It can be easy. And if you come from a place of peace inside, it really is. So I feel like she's coming back into that personal relationship with the divine, and knowing that that's where the peace comes from. When you have a personal relationship with God, the peace just flows naturally. So put some effort into creating that relationship. Relationships take work. She said she taught her children it was a lot of work in creating those peaceful relationships within the family. And she said it's work to create that relationship with God. You can't just go to God when you think something's wrong. Create a relationship every day, and then you'll always have that peace to pull from, and it will carry you through everything that life brings you. So I leave you with her blessings and her great wisdom. She is truly an amazing woman, and to feel her peace is really wonderful. So I'm pushing that peace out to all of you. I hope that you receive it in your hearts. God bless you, and thank you so much for sharing that beautiful essence of peace with me. Okay, and let's see who else is here. All right, I have another woman who's coming in, and she's coming in with a lot of humor. I feel like she's just smiles all over, and she's bringing me a very happy personality. I feel like I'm happy and lively, and I like to do a lot. I like to be busy, but I like to have a lot of fun too. And I feel with her, she would have liked to dance because she's dancing. And I feel like she would have been the life of the party. And she's saying she loved the holidays because there were lots of parties that she got to go to. And she would dress to the nines. I feel like I've got a lot of jewelry with her, wrinkling my bracelets, and the bracelets make a lot of noise. I feel like she's loved to wear the red and love to dress for the holidays, and I even feel like I have tinsel around my neck, so she would have put on a piece of tinsel on Christmas Day to be festive, and she always did things that made the holidays festive and joyful. And she said, you have to have fun in life. And she did. She had fun all the time. I feel like she dressed for every holiday, and she was very unique in the way she interacted with people. But I felt like everybody loved her. They loved to see her coming because she would brighten up everybody's day. She had quite a sense of humor, and she'd love to make people laugh. And I feel like she's coming in to get people laughing and to come into the joy of the season as she's preparing. And she's talking about she would have spent a lot of time preparing the things that she would bring with her when she would come for the holidays or when she'd go to parties. And people didn't realize it took a lot of planning to put together some of the outfits she put on. And it took a lot of planning to bring the things that were a surprise to everyone. So I feel like she came with bags and bags of things. And some of it was food, but a lot of it were like games and things that she would play jokes on people and bring things that would make people laugh. So I felt like she'd come with a bag of antlers for everybody to wear. And she would try to include everybody in the parties so that everybody felt included and nobody was left out. And I feel like she's an aunt to, an aunt rather than a mother, because I'm not feeling her own children around her, but I'm feeling a lot of people. And I feel like she was part of a very big family, and she was an aunt to many children who she absolutely adored. And because she didn't have her own children, she had the time to do those extra things that were fun, because she wasn't worrying about having to care for her own kids at home. She could think about the kids that she was related to and do very special things for them. So I feel like she's a very special aunt to so many, and she's very greatly missed. But she had a heart of gold and a joyful presence. And she's coming in to just share that joy and that fun. And she's saying, just have fun. Just be in the joy of the season. And don't let anything get you down, because we're always there with you. You're never alone. So I feel like she's going into the gatherings, the smaller this year. But she says that's okay, because there's so many of us from the spirit world that are filling all these houses with love and with energy and with joy. So feel that presence and know you're not alone. Even if you can't be with those who are still on the physical plane, you're with all the spiritual people. All the ones on the higher planes are coming in to fill all the homes and make them happy in this holiday season. So open your heart to their love and joy, and I leave you with her many blessings and so much laughter. She's just full of laughter. Thank you. And I also feel like I have a gentleman who's coming in here, and he feels rather elderly as he comes in. I feel like I would have had difficulty breathing. I'm sort of hunched over in my older years. I feel like I've got a walker with him because I'm hunched over and trying to get around with the walker. And I feel like he would have had a lot of breathing problems as well. And he's coming in as a grandfather to someone here, but I feel like he would have been someone who was cared for by many other people. Because I feel like I'm putting him he's showing himself in a nursing facility where there were a lot of people that cared for him. And I feel like he was apart from his family for a long time. And there was times when family couldn't get to him, not out of that they didn't care, but just because of distance. So I feel like he wants to let his family know he knew that they loved him. He knew that they cared for him, and he understood the distance in that final year of his life. And he knew how difficult it was for people who loved him to come and visit. But I feel like as he's coming in, he's saying, I don't want to be remembered by as the frail old man that I was at the end. I prefer to be remembered by the strength that I had in my life. And I feel like he's taken me back to his younger years when he was very strong and very capable and was able to run a huge company. And he was very smart. And he was a strategist, is what he's telling me. And he could strategize and make the right decisions for his company and for the people that worked under him. And he held a lot of burdens on his shoulders because he knew so many people depended upon him. So I feel as if he wants to come in and talk about the burdens that he carried is what weighed him down in his older years. Because I feel like as I'm hunched over with him, there were a lot of burdens that he carried on his back, and he didn't know how to let them go. He said, I continued to carry them and they weighed me down when I could have just looked at them, dealt with them, and given them off to other people to handle. I feel as if he was not a delegator in his life, and he wouldn't have delegated things, and that was one of the reasons he had all these burdens, because he wouldn't let things go. And he had a really difficult time as he aged and got older and was not able to take care of the business or take care of things, and he never really transferred the heavy responsibility he felt. And he's saying, don't do that. Don't do what I did. Let go of the burdens. Don't let them weigh you down. He said, because, life is full of things that can weigh you down. But if you deal with them head on, and if you release them, when you can't do any more about it, then you'll be free. And he said, I didn't free myself until I passed to the world of spirit. And he said, now I'm free and I'm standing tall and strong again. But there were many things that I could have learned when I was on the physical plane, and I really didn't learn them till I got here. And he said, I have many good teachers here that are showing me how I could have worked things differently, as I feel like some of the things he didn't let go of was a reason for the distance in the family. So I feel like there's an apology here that he's bringing in to say, I'm sorry, I didn't release things so that I could pay attention to what was important. And I didn't bring myself into a place where I could be close to the family and the people who really cared about me. So there's a big apology coming, and he's saying, pay attention to what's important. Pay attention to the people in your lives, because they're the most important. And don't carry burdens that you can't complete. When you pick something up, take care of it. Because I feel like the burdens that he carried were things that he never got to complete, and things he would have promised and not come through on the promises. So he said, I learned if I made a promise, I should have kept the promise right away. Don't hold it till later. Just take care of things as they show up in life, and then you won't be carrying these burdens of things you woulda, shoulda, coulda done. So I feel like he's freeing himself now, and he's trying to get through to everyone to let them know to handle what life brings you right away. Don't put it off. Don't be a procrastinator, because he was a procrastinator in life. He said, be free so that you can enjoy life and put the people in your life first and foremost, because that's what matters. And I feel like he's doing that now, and he's coming in with strength and purpose to share with his children and to share with all of his family, their children, so that they know that he loved them all. He just didn't really get a chance to show it as much as he would have liked. So I leave you with his blessings, and lots of love from him, and lots of advice. He did like to share advice, he said. So he's still doing that on the higher side of life. But this time, it holds a lot more wisdom than when he was here on the earth plane. So I leave you with his blessings and lots of love. And that's all the time we have today for our messages. But we thank all of those on the spirit side of life who have drawn near to be with us today. Let us all open our hearts, receive them, and know that each and every one of you has been touched by the love of Spirit today. So take their love in and send your love out to them, because they do get it, and they are there. And now just a few announcements before we close our service. Tomorrow is Medium's Night, and there will not be one in December, but we will be having a holiday gathering where our mediums will be present to give messages, and we'll have some holiday surprises. So if you'd like to join us on the holiday gallery, you can make a donation, which is $10, and when we receive the donation, we'll send you the link, and you'll be able to come into the gallery where our mediums will be bringing messages from the highest side of life. If you want a reading on Medium's Night, tomorrow night, you can send an email to me today. You would have to schedule it by tonight. This is Sunday night, because it is tomorrow night, and we have to send that link out. So if you want a private reading on Zoom with one of our mediums, send me an email, and wait for the confirmation before you pay online. And we'll fill as many spots as we can. Also, let's see, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and to like the video. And please make a donation to the church through our website, through Facebook, or through Venmo, because we do need your support to continue to be here. And don't forget to support the pantry, the food pantries, and the organizations in your area that need help to make this holiday season a bit brighter for those who can't afford to do so themselves. And we thank you for being with us today. Continue to carry that light and be the light and express that divinity in all you do. And now we have a closing prayer. Infinite Spirit, beloved God, we thank you for the healing, for the light, for the peace that we've received here today. Help us to carry it into the world. Help us to remember who we are as a part of you, and help us to be that expression in all we say, all we do, all we are. Help us to know we are divinity on earth. Amen. Have a wonderful week. We'll see you next week.